Howdy Steelers, and welcome to this game of What a Cowboy, a little bonus cheeky video for you. I'm going to do a battle report. This is because the game only came out about a week or so ago. I've read through the rules. I've got a reasonable grip on them, I think. I'm going to get things wrong, of course I am, I always do. But this, hopefully, will give you a pretty good idea as to how the game plays. I was also going to check out the Lard TV games on What's Cowboy as well. They've done some great great series exploring the rules and just talking about some of the aspects of it as well, and a game as well, a game between Nick and Rich. This I'm going to be playing is a very small game of it, actually, not just in scale. I'm doing it in 15mm, but also the scale of the game is going to be quite small. I'm only having two figures on each side, but I'll go through that when I go through it. What we've got is the Snaggletooth gang, which is led by Bomber Kilminster and his friend Filthy Wurzel. They are holed up in the Palace Saloon down in New Rotherham. The Milky Bar Kid and his sidekick, I forget his name, is Crunchy Friday. They are hot on their heels and have just hit town and are looking for the two outlaws to bring the bounty in. So we've got a small table here, only 2 foot by 2 foot. I'm not going to be changing the rules in any way. I'm going to be playing this in inches as it lays out in the book. It does suggest centimetres for 15mm, but I'm going to use this in inches. I prefer it. It seems to work pretty well for that. I've played a couple of solo games already, but this is going to be the first time that I play it, as a game here. This is going to be solo as well. I'm going to be playing some more games of this with friends over the next few days, but I wanted just to get this video together and get it out there as well. So what I'll do is I'll show you the table. I'll show you the cards of the different characters as well, and go through some of the bits and pieces. And as I say, this is kind of an idea really just to give you an idea of how the game plays, how it flows, and some of the basics. Go and check out the Two Fat Lardies stuff over on Lard TV, because they will have a much better grip on the game than I do, obviously having developed the thing. But hopefully this should be fun, and let's see if anybody should have taken their guns to town. So here we have the little burgeoning town of New Rotherham. As you can see, 2 buildings. We've got the Palace Saloon here, and then also the general post office and general store. I put a couple of fences and fields and things out just to block line of sight, and also to stop people moving about and things. The fields are going to be difficult ground. Fences obviously you've got to cross as well. We've got a hill over here, and a couple of trees, and some cows and some chickens kicking about. So typical Wild West style town, even though it's a little bit more verdant than you would expect from the spaghetti westerns, but this is where we're at the moment. So I will show you the characters that we're going to be playing with, and then we'll just get on with the action and see where we go from there. So these are the 4 characters. So we've got the Milky Bar Kid and Crunchy Friday over here. This is basically one gang, and then we've got Bomber Kilminster and Filthy Wurzel over here. This is a Snaggletooth gang as well. I've kind of split them up a little bit, made them a bit interesting. So we've got the Milky Bar Kid. He is a gunslinger, which basically allows him to have 2 bonanza tokens to start with. He also is armed with a pistol, which fires 12 inches effective range or 24 inches maximum range. Has 6 ammunition, so that's the dice there. These are his action dice, and this is the guy himself over here. He will also be playing on the Ace of Hearts card, which is in the deck. So each one of these will be designated to a card. The second one is the 2 of Hearts, which is Crunchy Friday. He is a greenhorn, which means he's like the lowest of all the characters. So he doesn't get any bonanza tokens when he starts. But he has got a pistol as well, and he's got ammunition of 6 with that as well. So over here then we've got Bomber Kilminster and also Filthy Wurzel. Now, given these 2 shootist skills, just to mention, the gunslinger, the Milky Bar Kid, he can actually change any of these dice into whatever he wants them to be, but you'll see that as the game goes on. So over here, Bomber Kilminster, he has got a shotgun. He's a shootist. This has got a 9-inch range, goes up to 18. It's also double barrel and has buckshot skill as well. A buckshot gives him a +1 hit up to effective range, so up to 9 inch, and +1 to the critical wound roll up to effective range, but -1 over effective range. So it's a very close range weapon. It's got basically 18 inches, 9 inches. He wants to be within 9 inches to be using it. He, because he's a shooter, starts with 1 Bonanza token, as does Filthy Wurzel. Filthy is also also a shootist. He has a sawed-off shotgun which has a 6-inch range. This is double barrel, it has buckshot, and this is also sawed-off, which for him means it gets a +1 to hit when the target it has 4-inch or less range. So again, real close-up work for these two guys, that's what they want. So we've got Bomber Kilminster, he's going to be operating on the Ace of Spades, of course, and then 2 of Spades is going to be Filthy Wurzel. So this is basically the game deck. That will be shuffled, and then whoever card drawn out is gets to go, and it keeps going like that until somebody rolls 4 6s, but we'll get to that. The other thing we've got as well is these Desperado cards. Everybody gets one of these at the start of the game. The Bonanza tokens, just to mention, they can be used for interruptions. You can also interrupt an interruption if you want to as well, use as long as you've got a Bonanza token to do it. You've also got as well on top of that are these Desperado cards, which there's quite a number of these. We shuffle them and then just deal 1 to each character, and these are kind of like action cards, event cards. I think there's possibly a point where you may be able to pick these up at some point in some scenarios or whatever. But anyway, so you're meant to keep these to yourself, but I'm going to obviously show them to what they are, so I'm going to just deal them 1, 2, 3, 4. So first up, the Milky Bar Kid has got the King of Diamonds. When I'm being paid, I always follow the job through. Reroll all of your action dice or Bonanza dice. That's a good one to have, so you can play that anytime, and he rerolls everything if he wants to. Then the Crunchy Friday has got No One Gets Out Alive. Change any one action or Bonanza dice roll to a result of your choice. That's pretty good as well, because he's a greenhorn, so he's going to need that. Next up, Bomber has got a golden-haired angel watches over. Play to re-roll any set of dice. So that's another good one as well. And then finally, I'm faster than you'll ever be. Play at any time to move your character 2d6 in any direction. That's pretty good, because he's going to need to get in close to use his skills with his sawn-off shotgun. So that's the basic setup. All of them have got their cards. I'm just going to put these on the table, show you where they are, and then we'll just get started, I think. Okay, so we've got our table already. So I put the hunters over here. So we've got the Milky Bar Kid and also Crunchy Friday. Heading across these fields over here, like I said, there's a lot of scenery in between the two gangs, just because I wanted to probably just show you some of the bits and pieces of the game, such as spotting and things like that. But we've also got the Snaggletooth gang there over here. So we've got Bomber Kilminster with his gun, and then also Filthy Wurzel with his sawed-off shotgun over there as well. So simply the way we work it is we deal up our game deck, as you can see. So some to a lot of other lardy games where they're using cards and what have you, and just draw the first one. First up is 2 of Hearts, so that's Crunchy Friday. So we then go on to rolling his dice. So his action dice here he's got a 6, so let's see what he gets for his action dice. We can go through those. So we've got a 1, 2 2s, 2 4s and a 5. So action dice wise is 1 is a move, 2 2s are spots, the 4s and 5s are shoots or reloads. So obviously he doesn't need to reload at this point. He can't shoot at anything pretty much. He can try and spot though. If the range is less than 12 inches, then he can see automatically if it's within 180 degrees of him. Let me just turn him around so he's actually facing forward, as they should be, like this. So 180 degrees in front of him. But every bit of terrain that you go over, you have to add a spotting dice. So each addition, and also each additional 24 inch range over your 24 inch as well. Also just cover, if you're looking into cover as well, each additional piece of cover of 4 inches or area cover between the spotter and the target. So 1, 2, 3, 4 at least spots of cover here, so he would need 4 spotting dice. So all he can really do, he's a greenhorn, he can't actually do anything, he can't change any of his dice. He does have this card which is change 1 action or bonanza dice roll of a result of your choice. Don't want to use that yet, want to hang on to that just in case there's some gunfighting later. So he's going to move. The first movement dice that you spend will move you 2d6. Any extra after that during your activation only adds 1d6. So let's go with the first one. He's got a 7, so in typical Lardy style we're using movements. You can cross a small terrain piece with your first movement as well. Any others you'll need a movement dice to cross them. So I'm going to actually bring him out into this, I think down here into the field, and he's probably going to try and make a snake away up there. I think that's probably the best thing to do at this point for him. So that's basically his turn because he can't really do a great deal else. So his action dice go back in his pool. Draw the next card. This is the 2 of clubs, so this is Filthy Wurzel. So once again he gets his 6 dice. So let's just roll those and see what happens. I'll go through a full move until the end of the turn in this way, and then we'll probably get a bit closer in the action in a second. It's just to give you a good idea. So he's got 2 2s, 2 3s, a 5 and a 6. So the 2s again are spotting. 3 is an aim, so he's got 2 aims there, so if he were to fire he would make it easier. He's got a shotgun, so his aim is not particularly great. A 5, which is a fire, and then a 6, which is a wild card, so it's an aces high, so it can be turned into any dice result or used to restore action dice lost from shock. He's got no shock, so he may as well use that to turn it into a 1, and I'm going to try to get him down here to try and head off the Crunchy Friday. So I'm going to turn that into a 1. I'm just doing that as a show. We'll hang on to the aims and the fire at least, and the spot, because he might be in the position where he can actually spot with them. So I'm just going to put these to one side while I roll these dice here. So we've used up a 1, so I'm just going to stick that back in his action dice, and he's going to try to come down to this fence. So 5 inches. So this is Filthy at the back. He has actually got to that fence. So I'm going to stick him up against the fence here, just turn it around in their bases so I know where they're facing. So he's behind cover, and he's got a fence. He has, actually his weapon is only 6 inches, goes up to 12 inch effective, and there's 1, 2, 3 bits of terrain between the two, because I'm going to count that fence as 1 there as well, between him and Crunchy Friday. He's only got 2 spots, so he can't actually see across it. He'll only get 1 and then 2, but then he's still got to clear that other one there. So he can't spot him, so he can't fire at him. So that kind of ends his turn at this point. There's not much else he could do. If he was a gunslinger, he may have been able to change one of those other dice, action dice, into something as well, but he's not. Next up, Ace of Hearts. This is our man, the Milky Bar Kid. So we roll for this. See what he gets. So we've got a 6, which is an aces high. We've got a 2, which is a spot. 2 3s, which are aims. 5 and a 4. So as a gunslinger, he can actually swap one of these action dice to any other dice from 1 to 5. So first of all, I want him to move. So I'm going to use a 1 up anyway. So I'm going to turn that 6 into a 1. And I'm going to try to head him off at a pass. He's going to come round this side and then try to get some firing down that back end. He sent his sidekick off just to go and act as a decoy over there. So we've already spent that 6, turned it into a 1. Like I say, I'm going to bring him up here. So he's got 2d6, so 11 inches. So he's going to sneak across around this fence up to the back here, I think. And then we'll see what happens. Well, he's actually in a pretty good position there. So he's got to the fence line. Filthy is 1, 2 behind some terrain. However, he's less than 12 inches away. So he could actually spot him with that. So let's just go back to these the dice that we've got. So we've actually got a 2, 2 3s, a 5 and a 4. So they're 2 shoots. The 2 3s are aims. He's got one spot, so he can actually clear that, because to spot somebody within 12 inches it costs you no dice. However, he's looking over 2 fences, so he needs to spend 2 dice of spotting to be able to see Filthy to fire at him. So, do we sacrifice an aim shot? I think we probably will do, to be honest. We'll sacrifice an aim to see if we can get a round off, and then maybe get 2 shots into him at least. So, because he's a gunslinger, he can change any one of these dice into a 2 if he wants to. He's got a card here which allows him to re-roll all his action dice or bonanza dice. He doesn't want to, so we're just going to turn that into a 2. So that will then spot across there, which will then spot Filthy. So we've done it. Now Filthy could interrupt if he wanted to with a bonanza token, which would mean he basically rolls an action dice, his action hand again, but he doesn't. I don't think he wants to, simply because it's going to be a bit difficult to see him anyway. I don't know if you can actually see Filthy. He's behind this hedge here. I'm just going to shift that tree out of the way. I don't know if you can see Filthy. He's here behind the hedge. So we're going to take a shot at him. So we've got an aim token, so we're going to use that. Sorry, an aim. So that basically gives him a +1 on his shooting. He is using a pistol, and he is within 12 inches. Let's just check. He's not firing over effective range. He is using an aim dice, so he gets a +1 for that. They're not shooting at henchmen. It's an aim shot with a rifle over 12 inches, a +1. It isn't. So the way it works is he only fires with 1 dice because it's a pistol, and he fires with 1 dice per shot of shot dice. So the first one is going to be an aimed shot, so he's getting a +1 for that. So normally you need a 5 up to hit on an aim, but because he is firing with that with the aim dice, he basically needs a 4 up. So let's see, 50th chance. Yes, he's hit. Wurzel now actually gets a chance to dodge because he's in cover. He can dodge on a 4 up. So you can't dodge if you're pinned. If he's in the open, it would be a 5 up. If he's successful, he's pinned, but he's also moved back 4 inches into cover. So he will probably fall back behind this stuff here. So he's out of the way. Otherwise, if you're in the open, you would fall prone. Sorry, if you're successful. But if you get a 1, it's a fail, and you automatically take a shock. So let's see if he dodges. So he's dodging on a 4 up, and then he would move back. Anyway, no, he's failed it. So the hit has gone through, and it was a 4, which becomes a 5. And it was a 1 actually. He just rolled a 1, didn't he? So he actually takes 1 shock. So what happens there is, when you take a shock, you take one of your action dice and put it into your shock pool. He has to recover those with 6s. So he's been hit. So the effect of the hit is, it's a 4. He got an aim shot on it, becomes a 5. A 5 is a shock, so it's placed one of the character's action dice in the character's shock pool. So he's actually taken 2 shock for that, because he failed the dodge, and he also took a shot, fail for the thing. Then we also have to turn down the ammunition of the Milky Bar Kid, so he's now down on 5. You can replenish those with 4s and 5s. He's still got that other 5 dice, remember? So he's used a 3 and a 4 to shoot, aim and shoot. Now he's got a 5. He's going to fire again. This time though, he needs a 5 up. So before it was a 4 up because he got a +1 from the aim, and then 5 up. This time he's hit again. This is yet another shock. Well, actually, it depends if Filthy dodges this. He's dodging it in cover, so he's dodging on a 4 up. 6, yes, he's dodged it, but what happens is he falls back 4 inches, and then he will also take he takes a pinned as well, which he'll have to get rid of. Just double checked it, because he's behind cover and he's dodged. He would normally hunker down, but he actually needs to dodge behind solid cover. He's not in solid cover there, so he's going to dodge behind here, and it's less than 4 inches away. So I'm just going to put him behind here. So he's actually now out of line of sight, and he is no longer spotted by the Milky Bar Kid, but he also does take a pin as well. So he's going to have to get rid of that with a move dice on his turn. So I think that ends the Milky Bar Kid's turn with his last shot. So he's done alright. He's actually shocked Filthy, if nothing else, who was coming forward. So, you know, the action has started. And then finally, it's Bomber Kilminster. It's his turn, so we roll his dice. So now we've got these 2 guys closing down on the gang, but let's just see what happens with them. So we've got a 6 there, we've got 3, another 3, 2 2s and a 4. So can he spot and do anything? So he's got 2 spots, 2 aims, a 4 which is a shoot, and then a 6 which he can then change into anything, so that's an aces high. I don't think he can do a great deal with what he's got at the moment. He's going to have to move, I think. The Milky Bar Kid is 1, 2, 3 things behind 3 bits of scenery, so that would need 3 spot dice. He's only got 2, so he could either turn his 6 into a 2, or try and move up to this fence and then spot across there and then maybe even shoot. He's got a shotgun, so yeah, I think it's 9 inches range on that. So let's just check from that. He would be in range of the Milky Bar Kid, so I think it's probably worth doing. So he's going to turn that into a 1. He's 6, so I'll just put that there. So he is going to be moving 2d6 first of all. Just put the rest of his action dice down here out of the way so you can see him. So he's wanting to get to this fence. They're taking it in turns at this moment. 5 inches, yes, he's got up to that fence. So he's up to the fence, and then he is going to take a shot over at our man. Now the question here is, he's got a shotgun. Well, he's done the 2 spots, so 1 and 2, so he can see the Milky Bar Kid as he is. So I'm going to get rid of those action dice. That's out of the way. And then we've got a 3 and a 4. Now he's he could unload with a double barrel, but then he'd be unloaded completely because he's only got 2 shots. But he does get to roll 3 dice to hit with it. He can't aim with it though if he does that, because it's a shotgun and he's unloading. I think it's probably his best chance. He's going to get 3 dice to roll rather than 2, so I'm going to do that. So we get rid of all those. So I get rid of his ammo card as well. He's also got a golden haired angel watching over him, so he could re-roll any set of dice he wanted. So this is his shot. Let's have a look. We need 5s up, and he's not aiming, so basically it is just that, 5s up. Is there anything else? I don't think there is. He's not at 4 inches or less. He's not firing at over effective range. He's not able to use the dice, aim dice. It's not aim shot with a rifle. So basically he needs a 5 up to hit. And as I say, because he's using double barrel, he can actually use 3 dice to fire. Not a single one has hit. Well, I'll tell you what, let's play his card. Let's go a golden angel watches over. So he's going to play that, so we get rid of that. So he's going to get to go re-roll those. Meanwhile, it's bonanza time. The Milky Bar Kid doesn't like to be shot at, actually. So what he's going to do, he's going to spend a bonanza token to interrupt his turn. So what happens with the bonanza tokens is, he then gets a full turn, but it is minus the amount of action dice. So he's a gunslinger, so it's his normal action dice, as it is now 6, then minus 2, because he's a gunslinger, so then he gets to act with those. So hopefully he's going to hope, well, Bomber's going to take a shot in a second, but we're going to get to the Milky Bar Kid. If you play a bonanza token, you can interrupt at any time in the game. The only time you can't do it is when they've rolled their firing dice. He'd played a card, so he'd not actually rolled his firing dice. This was a perfect time for the Milky Bar Kid to interrupt. So he's only rolling 4 though, but it's at least if he can get some aimed shots in at him. He needs to spot him and also aiming in. He's going to need 1, 2 spotting dice, but he's a gunslinger, so he can actually change a couple of these dice as well, or 1 of these dice at least. Right, well, that is actually a good roll for him, I think. So we've got a 1, 2 2s and a 6. So what we could do is we can spot him. We can spot Bomber using those 2. He then can change the aces high into anything he wants. He can also change an extra dice as well if he wants. So he could potentially fire at him with a 5 and then either move, or he could turn that into a fire dice, or even into an aim dice. Don't know what's for the better at this point. Does he shoot first? Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to shoot twice. That's what he's going to do. So 2 5s. I'm going to turn those into 2 5s. However, before he turns into it, Bomber is then going to interact with his Bonanza dice. He's only got one. He hasn't rolled his dice to fire yet, but they are using up their Bonanza tokens at this point. So he gets to roll now with his. He is a shootist, sorry, so he gets his current action dice -3, so he's down to 3 dice to activate. So he might even back off, or maybe fire those shots that he hadn't fired. I'm not entirely sure what happens here because he hasn't actually fired those shots yet, but let's see. He's interrupting the turn anyway, whatever happens, and he's got a 1, a 3 and a 6. He's going to turn that 6 into a 4 to turn it into a shooting dice, and unload as he was supposed to do before the Milky Bar Kid did. Anyway, he has spotted the Milky Bar Kid. Milky Bar Kid hasn't moved, so he'd already spotted. So all he wanted to do was get a shot in, and he's going to go for that. And then he could potentially use the 1 to move as well. But we'll just hold on to that for 1 second. So let's just see. He's going to fire, and he's firing on a. He's hitting on a 5-up, no aim, because it's that double-barrel shotgun that he's firing. He's got 2 hits there. 2 6s on the effect are 2 wounds. So that's 2 wounds on the Milky Bar Kid. So it's lose 1 action dice permanently and place 1 action dice in the character's shock pool. So that's 2 for those. So he's going to obviously lose the 2 permanently, the ones that are already in his action dice, so he doesn't lose those. And then he's going to have to lose 2 of his action dice. So that means he can't shoot anymore because they've gone into the shock pool. They've come out of the game for a bit because it was 2 hits. So mind you, he can dodge. He only gets 1 dodge though. So let's just see. I forgot about that. See if he gets the dodge in. So I'll just put those back to remind me. They're in the action dice. So he needs a 4-up because he's in cover. 2, no, he hasn't dodged. So yes, he's lost 2 action dice permanently. He's got 2 in his shock pool. All he could do then was basically spot, even with his Bonanza. Bomber has actually done a lot better there than I was expecting. He managed to unload his shotgun into the Milky Bar Kid. The Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough, but obviously it's not good enough. So we've still got a 1 for Bomber. He can still do something. I'm going to take these 2s off because the Milky Bar Kid can't actually do anything else now, so that pretty much ends his turn. So what do we do now? Does he stay where he is? He's currently unloaded, but he is wounded and also has shock as well, so it's, I don't know, is it worthwhile just staying where he is? He's in good cover. Yeah, I'm going to keep him where he is, and hopefully his cards will come up in the next turn, and he will also then get some kind of reload in there. So that's going to end his turn. That ends his Bonanza, which also ends the Milky Bar Kid's Bonanza. So this is how it stands at the moment. And literally, Filthy is pinned and also has got some shock. Bomber is unloaded, but he's ready to go. Crunchy Friday is slowly making his way around the corner, and the poor old Milky Bar Kid, he's got a couple of bullet holes in his chest. Right, we shall move into turn 2. So we're straight back in with the action. We've got the Milky Bar Kid over here, and we've got Crunchy Friday trying to move through that field. Meanwhile, the Desperados over here are still hunkering down. Now, if the Milky Bar Kid has more actions, more dice out of his action pool in shock than in play, then he will flee the table. He's got 2 for 2 at the moment. Also, if he has more wounds than those in play, he will also be wounded and taken out of the game. So again, one more wound and he will be out of the game anyway. So he's going to have to try to recover his shock. So first of all, let's get that game deck dealt. First up is the Ace of Hearts. It's the Milky Bar Kid. So this is his chance. He has got the action dice. He's got 2 action dice at the moment. So let's just get those in the centre here so we can roll them. he's looking for getting rid of that shock, so he basically needs aces high on this. So he needs his sixes. He is a gunslinger, so he can change some of these about as well. He's also got as well his card which he can play, which is a re-roll of all the action or bonanza dice. So he could basically re-roll those 2 dice if he really wanted to. So, but let's see what he gets anyway for his actions this turn. So we've got a 3 and a 4, so that is an aim and a shoot. Well, to be fair, Bomber Killerminster is right in front of him. He has spotted him, because he spotted him last time, if you recall. No, he didn't, did he actually? Because he lost those as a shock pool, so he's not actually spotted Bomber Killerminster at the moment. So what do we do here? Do we re-roll, or do we go for... try and get him out of line of sight and recover some shock? I think I'm going to actually. I'm going to go for a re-roll. So I'm going to play that card, the king there. So it's when I'm being paid, I always follow the job through. The job through. So we're going to re-roll and hope for a 6 and at least a 1, so he can move out of the way. Well, he's got his 1 that he wanted, and he's also got a 5 as well, which is a shoot. So he's going to use that 1 to move, and then he's going to get behind this cover here, and then I think I'm going to turn that 5. He can change it into anything he wants. No, he can only change it to 1 to 5, unfortunately. So he can't do a great deal with it. So I'm going to try to just get him out of the way of fire behind here. So he's just going to move to here anyway. It's less than 2 inches, so he'll do it. Yeah, he's done it 11 inches. So I'm just going to put him there. So he's now out of line of sight at least. And hopefully he's going to recover his shock at some point. So let's see what the next card is. This is the 2 of spades, so this is Filthy Wurzel. Now, Filthy is currently pinned, so he's going to have to spend a move dice to get rid of that pin before he does anything else. So hopefully he's going to get some kind of dice as well for his. He needs a 1. Well, he's got a 2 2s, a 5, and a 6. So he's going to change that 6 into a 1, so at least he can get rid of that pin. So that takes that off at least. He can't take anything out of his shock because he just he needs 6s for his aces high. So he's got a 5 and 2 2s. You can see how quickly you start to bog down a little bit and not really do what you want to do. But he's got 2 2s. He can't actually spot the Milky Bar, Crunchy Friday, because he's too far over. There's at least 1, 2, 3. I'd say 3 bits of terrain in between, so he's going to need at least 3 dice, depending on the range. So that's the end of Filthy's turn. He can't do anything else. So Ace of Spades, that is our man, Bomber Kilminster. So let's see what he gets. He's looking to be able to spot the Milky Bar Kid now. He's lost sight of the Milky Bar Kid. He's looking to spot Crunchy Friday at this point. So we've got a 1 is move, a 2 is spot, 3 is aim, and 2 5s, so 2 shoots, and also a 6. Well, he actually hasn't got any ammunition in his gun, so he's going to use those 2 to reload anyway, no matter what he does. So that's 1 2, so he's back, got a full gun now. What I might do is actually I might move him down here towards these, down towards this end of the field. Try and get him in here, and then he's only going to need a couple of things to spot across. I don't think he's going to be able to spot this turn, but let's move him down and see where we're at. So that's his first action. I want to keep that wild card for a second. I'm just going to use the 1 first of all. So he's moving 8 inches. I wanted to get him to this corner of the field here. Shift these beehives out of the way. Hopefully the firing won't upset the bees. And then let's see where we're at there. See how much terrain there is in between. There's actually 2 bits of terrain between him and the Milky Bar. Between him and Crunchy Friday. So let's have a look. What other card he's got? He's got a 2, which means he could spot 1 bit. He can't change any of these dice, unfortunately for him. He could turn that into a 2 and then at least spot him, so I think I'm going to. So that he's now spotted this guy. And then the 3 is he's going to aim, and he can actually hold that over into the next turn if he wants to. So I'm going to. I'm not sure if you hold the actual dice over I can't remember what it says in the rules, so let me just have a quick check of that. So according to rules, it basically affects only one particular character. He's got a shotgun, so he can't aim with it anyway. He wants to use double barrels, so forget about it. But you can hold it over if you want to into the next turn. It doesn't get rid of the dice, but as long as the character you're aiming at stays in line of sight, then you're all right. Anyway, we know whose card is next. It's the Two of Hearts. That's our Crunchy Friday, so let's just see what he does. He's like literally our only hope at this point of clearing out the Snaggletooth gang. So let's have a look. We have got 2 2s, which is spots, 4, 4, 5 and 5. So that's a lot of shooting and 2 spots. He can actually spot him because Killminster was the same, or could he though? Let's have a look, because he is just slightly out of the way. He's actually over 1, 2, 3 bits of cover there, so he would actually need a 3rd spotting dice to get that. But he does have this card, which no one gets out alive. It says change any one action or bonanza dice roll to a result of your choice. He is going to use this to spot. He's going to turn a 4 into a 2 to spot, so that's going as 1, 2, 3. He has now spotted old fella there, and then he's going to unleash 3 shots at Bomber. Bomber can't interrupt. He's already spent his bonanza token, so he's got no chance of interrupting. So I'm going to take 3 shots at him. So that's going to be 3 ammunition. Well, let's just work our way through these one at a time. So first up is he's hitting on a 5 up. Let's just check. Pistol or sawn off at 4 inch or less. No. Firing over effective range. No, he's not. Each aim dice, he hasn't got any. No. Shooting at henchmen. No. Aimed shots with rifle over 12 inch. No. So basically we're going to hit on a 5 up. So first shot. Let's have a look. A 6. He's hit. A veritable hit. Does he dodge? He's dodging. He's in cover. So he's dodging on a 4 up. No, he doesn't, and that is also it's a fail and a shock as well. So poor old Bomber has taken a shock there immediately. So that's 1 hit. So a 6 on a hit is a wound. So Bomber loses 1 action dice permanently and place 1 action dice in the character's shock pool. So we take 1 action dice out, 1 into the pool. So that's wounded him. His next shot, so that's used at 1 ammo, so he's going to fire. We had 3 shots, didn't we? So he's going to fire his next shot. A 2, no, it's a miss. And then the final shot, a 1, that is also a miss as well. So he's down to 3 ammo in his gun, but at least he's caused a bit of damage on Bomber for now. Right, turn 3 now. So the tides are turning. Poor old Milky Bar Kid needs to pull himself together, I think. As do the 2 lads in the Snaggletooth gang as well. They're getting a bit angsty. So anyway, let's see what happens with them. Ace of Spades. That is Bomber Killminster. So he currently has a shock pool. He's got a dice in the shock pool. He's also pinned as well. So he's going to need 6s and 1s to get rid of that pin, and also to draw that dice out of the shock pool. So first of all, let's see if he gets them. 4 5s. He can't do anything because he's pinned. You can't actually do anything until you stop being pinned. So that's him straight out. Unfortunately, that's he's got nothing to take that pin off. So next up, it is Filthy. He is down to 4 dice. He's got 2 in his shock pool, so he's going to want to recover those with 6s if he can. Not brilliant. He's got a 1, 2, 3 and a 5, so that is a move, a spot, an aim and a fire. Does he want to come and join his pal down in this corner and maybe try and take out young fellow my lad over here? I think he's going to. I think that's a sensible thing to do at this point. So I want to get him moved up to start firing over here. So we're going to try to get to this fence. I'm just going to put the action dice over here so I know what we've got. So he's using his move first of all, and we're going 9 inches. So that's definitely going to get him. Actually, I think, to be honest, bit of a cheat because I did say I was going to this fence, but I'm going to move him down here onto the road instead, and then he is going to spot using his spotting dice of a 2, so he only needs to look over that one fence, so he spotted him because there's only one fence in between the two. You can see there. So that's that used up. He can't use a 3 because he's got a double barrel shotgun, but he has got a fire dice, so he's going to use that and blast the hapless young fella down here with a 5. So we're going to use both ammo up, so I'm going to take that off there. He's firing with 3 dice. Fella me lad can't hit back. He's not less than 4 inches, so it's not a +1 for a sword off, and he's not firing over effective range, and he's not using any aim dice. So he needs 5s, but he's got 3 shots because he's using a double barrel blast. So that's 2 hits. So that's a 5 and 6. Young fella me lad has to try to dodge that. He's not in cover. He's in the open, so he needs a 5 or a 6 to dodge. A 4, no, he hasn't done it, unfortunately for him. So that's a 5 and a 6. So that is a shock. So he takes 1 shock, first of all, this Crunchy Friday, and then also a wound, which is he loses a dice and takes another shock. So he is now down to 3 action dice and 2 in the shock, and that wound. Not good at all, poor fella. Okay, so that was a good move by Filthy, but he's now currently unloaded. So let's just see what happens next there. The 2 nasty fellas are bearing down on the hapless lad, but we know that their dice are going to come up next. So we got a 2. Sorry, their cards are going to come up next. So we've got 2 of hearts. That's Crunchy. He's got 3 dice for his activation. So let's see. He's still got 3 ammunition in there as well at the moment. Remember, he has spotted Bomber Kilminster, but he hasn't spotted Wurzel yet. But maybe that might change. He's going to need 2 to actually spot him, 2 spotting dice. He's got a 2, a 3 and a 5. Well, I tell you what, he's still got Bomber in range, so he's going to shoot at him and he's going to use an aiming dice. So it's 1 shot with an aim dice. We're going to ignore that spot dice. So that takes him down to 2 ammo at the moment. His aim dice gives him a +1, and that's it. So he needs a 4, 5 or a 6. 1 missed, so there's no point checking to see if our man dodges. And then finally, obviously, it's the Milky Bar Kid. That's the Ace of Hearts. So we'll quickly roll his. He's only got 2 dice. He needs 6s here, but he can change one. Remember, to a result between 1 and 5. So he's got a 1 and a 3, so that's a move and an aim. I want to try to get this stuff out of the shock pool. Really, there's not much else he can do. I don't want him to move too far forward. He's kind of hunkered down a little bit, and I can't really change anything enough. I can't change it to a 6 for an Aces High, so I can't actually reduce the shock at the moment. So he's just going to sit where he is, and we'll end that turn. Right, well, next turn. Ooh, turn the cards upside down, that helps. So let's see who comes up next. First up then, we've got 2 of spades. That's Filthy. So he still has 2 dice in his shock pool. He's got 4 action dice. He's unloaded currently, so he's looking for 6s to load up, or 4s and 5s to also help him load as well. Let's see. Not a great deal there. He can't actually swap any of these things around, unfortunately for him. Well, first of all, he's going to use that 5 to reload at least 1 shell back into his gun. Again, there's not a great deal he can do there, really, with the 3s and the 1s. He could move, he could use his card, I'm faster than you'll ever be, to move 2d6 in any direction. Or he could use that 1 to move. I don't really want him to. I want him to stay where he is. He's spotted the Crunchy Friday, so I think he's just going to stop and end his turn there. And trying to recover the shock is a hard thing. So, next card up is the Ace of Hearts. This is the Milky Bar Kid himself. So let's see what he does. 2 3s. They're getting terrible rolls at the moment. 3 is aim. So he can't really aim, he can't do anything. So he could change one of these if he wanted to. Is it worth him while trying to actually get round the back? Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to move. I'm going to turn that into a 1. I'm going to move rather than sitting sitting where he is, I'm going to try to get him to move around these buildings and come round and flank them while they're preoccupied with Crunchy Friday. So he's going to move up to this fence. You can cross one piece of terrain, so he's going to move around there, cross that piece of terrain. He'd need another move dice to cross that one, so he's got there at least. He is currently, he hasn't spotted anybody, but he is at least in a slightly better position. Next card, 2 of hearts. That is Crunchy Friday. Let's give him a roll. Let's see what we've got. Okay, this is more like it. So we've got a 1, a 3 and a 6. 6, first of all, he's going to use that to reduce his shock, so get some action dice back in. 5 is a shot, 1 is move. He's only got 2 ammo left, but he could at least have a shot at Bomber Kilminster again, because he's spotted him already. He can't aim, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to shoot at him, take him down to 1 ammo in his pistol. We're hitting on a 5 up. 4, that's a miss. If he'd got an aim dice, he could have added that in and hit him. So he's missed there. And then finally, our last one is Bomber himself. He's got 4 dice, 1 in shock. Let's see, we've got triple 3 and a 4. 3 is aim, not very useful, and 4 is shock. He needs to get rid of the pin, so he'd need a move before he can do anything, so he can't do anything, so he's kind of stuck where he is as well. Right, next turn. This is turning into a proper desperate shootout right now. Let's see what we got. So, first card is, this is Wurzel. 2 of spades, so let's give him a roll. He's still got a couple of dice in shock, so we want to get rid of those if we can. So, well, there we go. First one, he's going to take 1 action dice back, so that's spent his 6. He's got a 1, a 2 and a 3. That's a spot, an aim and a move. I don't want to do anything with him, just because I don't think there's much point, to be honest. He's already aiming at Crunchy. He can't reload, unfortunately, with that stuff, but he's managed to get one of his action dice back, and that's what he was after. So I'm going to end his turn there. And our next card is Ace of Hearts. This is the Milky Bar Kid. See what he gets. That's Cock's dice, I'll just re-roll that. So we've got a 3 and a 4. So that's an aim and a shoot. He can change it if he wants to. He doesn't want to, but he's going to use that 4 to reload up to his full ammunition. So he's back to 6, and that's him done. That's all he's going to do this turn. So he's just hunkering down behind the post office, reloading. 2 of hearts. It's our fella Crunchy. 1 in the shock pool. He's only got 1 ammunition left as well at this point. Right, so he's got to move. 2 5s and a 4, so that is firing. So what he's going to do, he's going to shoot again at Bomber, and then he's going to reload with the final 2 of his dice, and he's going to stay. Oh, should he move? I'll tell you what. Yeah, he's going to move. He's going to move up to the cover here, because he's currently in a bit of a not a great situation. So I'm going to move him actually closer up to here. I think that's the first thing he's going to do. Try and get, so he's 4 inch. So he's managed to get to that hedge, and he is now firing over. So at least he's behind some kind of cover as well. Then we're going to fire with his final shot. So we're needing a 5 up. Let's have a look. A 3 is that's a miss. So then he's actually going to reload 2 shells. So he's back up to 2. But that's end of his turn. So who we got next? Well, Ace of Spades, Bomber. So let's give him a go. See what happens. Ooh, that's a bit better for him. He's got 2 6s and 2 5s. So he can change one of those into a 1, which is a move, which will then get rid of his pinned marker. He will then also use the other 6 as well as an Aces High to get his shock back in. So he's back up to his 5 dice. And then he's got 2 shots as well. So Crunchy has actually moved. moved into cover as well, so he's going to need to spot him again. So he needs two dice, so he can't actually do anything with those fives, because while he was recovering from his pin, Crunchy disappeared off behind the hedge, so he's going to have to relocate him again. So that's going to end his turn. He can't fire. Rightio, next turn. Still got a couple of Bonanza tokens kicking about here that nobody's used, but let's have a look. There we go, we are back on with Bomber. He needs to spot Crunchy. He needs 2 2s, or the ability to swap those 2s, but he is back up onto his 4 dice, so let's see what he gets with those. Well, he's got a 1 2, he's got a 1, a 3 for an aim, another 3 for an aim, and a 4 as well. Unfortunately, he can't change anything because he's only a shootist, not a what's the name? Can't remember. Well, what we can do is we can move him, and he can come up to this fence, and then he can spot across there, so he could use that too. So that's what he's going to do actually. So what we're going to try to do first of all is going to use the 1 there to try to get him close up, and then that might actually bring him in within 4 inch of Crunchy as well, which will be good, because that'll be good for his shotgun. But let's have a look. 7 inches he gets to go. So yeah, that's going to be enough. It's 2 inch to there, and then 2 inch to there. So he is definitely at that fence, blasting across the fence. He's then going to use that 2 to spot. He can't use a 3 to aim, because he just can't, because he's got a shotgun. But he has got, he can fire both barrels with 1 single fire dice. So he's going to, is he within 4 inch? No, he's just over 4 inches away from Crunchy. Thankfully, Crunchy's sighing a bit of, breathing a sigh of relief there. But let's just see. He unloads at him, so he needs 5s up. Let's just double check, see what happens with any additions. So he has got, let me just check, it's a pistol sawn off at 4 inch or less. No, it isn't. It's firing over effective range. No, he's not. He hasn't got any aim dice he can use. Not shooting at henchmen, and it's not an aimed shot with a rifle over 12 inch. But he needs 5s and 6s. 1 hit. Crunchy can try to dodge that. He needs a 4 up because he's in cover, and he'll dodge. If he only gets 1 dodge against a double barrel shotgun. If he dodges 1, he dodges them all. Otherwise, they hit. But he needs a 4 up. A 6, yes, he's dodged it anyway, so no effect. And that means Bomber is now out of ammunition as well. Oh, this is getting tense. Next up, it's Crunchy, 2 of hearts. So, roll his dice. Let's see what we get. He's still got 1 dice in the shot pool. He's holding his own at the moment, old Crunchy. 1 is a move, 3 is an aim, and 2 4s is shoot. Because Bomber has moved, he actually needs a spot dice on him, and he hasn't got any spot dice at this point because he's not actually spotted where the other guy is either. So he's currently ducking down behind the hedges. Bullets are coming this way, so he basically can't see either of these at this point. So what he's going to do is I'm going to use those 2 4s to reload up to 4 on his ammunition. And should he move? Yeah, I'm going to move him. He's in a very dangerous position. He's up against 2 gangsters. So I'm going to use that 1, and I'm going to run him back over here behind this hedge to try to get away from these guys. They will no longer have spotted him, because once again he is ducked out of their way, and he's cowering behind that hedge. Next up, it's 2. This is Filthy. So Filthy now needs to spot Crunchy. He is now 1 2 away, and he's moved, so he's going to need to do some spotting with his dice. He's got 5 of his action dice. He's still got 1 in the shot pool. He needs a 6 to get that out. He's got a 6. He's going to do that. That's an important thing to do, so I'm going to take that and take it out. He's only got 1 ammo in his gun, so I'm going to reload with the 4, turn that up to a 2. So he's now got fully loaded. And now he's got a 1 and which is a move, and 2 aims. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move him into this field to chase Crunchy down. So let's just see. He can't use those 3s because it's a shotgun he's got. So let's advance on him. 9 inches. So we've got a 2 to there, and another 7. So I'm going to bring him up to just by where the scarecrow is. and bring him to there. He hasn't spotted Crunchy, but he knows he's in this area, but they are advancing on him. Poor lad. He definitely shouldn't have taken his guns into town today, should he? And then we've got our final card for the turn, which obviously is the Ace of Hearts, and that's our Milky Bar Kid, who is shirking away from his duties. But let's see, he needs some sixes here. We really need to get that shock reduced and doing something. 2 3s, that's nothing, that's just aims. All he can do is change one of these. He's fully reloaded. I'm just going to wait where he is, I think. There's no point getting him out in the open because he will be a target for being shot at with another shotgun. Right, so that ends that turn. Alright, we're on to the next turn now, and the action is starting to take a turn into this bit here as the Snaggletooth guys start to actually advance on poor old Crunchy. It's not his day, but let's have a look. So first card up is the Ace of Hearts. That's the Milky Bar Kid. So our Milky Bar Kid has got 2 dice, action dice. 5 and a 4 is a reload or a shoot. He's got nothing to shoot at. He can't change any of those into anything interesting, so he's just still hunkering down. He needs, I say, he's got to get rid of that shock. He's still got 2 shock there. Next up, it's this is Filthy. So he's on. He still hasn't spotted Crunchy over here, but he's at least got 6 of his cards he's left. His dice, he's got his full dice on. But let's see, we've got a 2, so he can spot. So he's going to spot him at least, and then he's actually got 4 shots. So he's going to unload. So first of all, he's going to shoot, and he's going to do a double blast with his sawed-off shotgun. I think he might actually be within 4 inches at this point. Yes, he is, just in 4 inch. So let me just put these to one side so as I count them up. So he spotted him, so I'm going to take that away. Then he's firing, and that's going to use up both of his ammo, but because he's firing a double blast, he gets to roll 3 dice. He's hitting, this time he's firing at 4 inch or less, so it's a +1 on all of the dice, and that's it. So that's a 6, that's a 3, that becomes a 4. So that's a miss. A 1 becomes a 2, that is also a miss as well, but the 6 becomes a 7 for damage. Let's see if Crunchy can dodge that. He needs a 4 up. 6, yes, he's dodged it, so completely blown it away. Next up, he has got 2 more dice, so he's going to use those to reload, so that takes it back up, and then use that 5 to blast again and use up fire once more, so 3 more firings with a +1 once again. That's 2 4s, so that actually becomes a hit, so that's 2 hits. The 2 is nothing because they become 5s because it's a close range, but Crunchy gets to dodge, and he's dodging on a 4 up. 3, no, he hasn't dodged, so he's actually taken 2 hits, 2 5s which are shock, so place 1 action dice in the character's shock pool. So Crunchy has taken 2 dice into his shock pool. Okay, so there Crunchy has just lost 3 action dice into his dice pool. He's lost more than he has normally done. This probably happened earlier on, so I do apologise if he did and you noticed, but he flees the table, so he runs off. He's out of here. So Crunchy has disappeared with his tail between his legs pretty much. So unfortunately for him. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll take Crunchy's that's not Crunchy's card. When it comes up, I'll take it out of the deck. And then Filthy still has a move dice left. So what he's going to do is he's going to move, and I'm going to move him up towards the Milky Bar Kid to see if we can do something with him. So let's have a look. 7 inches. So yeah, I probably miscalculated at some point when a character has had more dice out of action in their shock pool than permanently out, but never mind, don't worry about that, we're learning the game here. Right, so that was Filthy's turn over, so now we've got Bomber. Oh, it is Bomber's turn, just drawn that. So he has got 5 dice. He's currently unloaded, as is Filthy. They both need to load up, so let's just see if he can do that. So we've got a 1, a 2 and a 3, so he can use those 2 6s there, turn that into a load dice, so he's going to fill up he's also got a 1, 2 and a 3 left. So he might come down the road and try and get behind this cover here and then spot the Milky Bar Kid with that too, I think. That's what he's going to do. He's going to try to come down here behind the cover outside the saloon. 6 inches. He's done it, so I'm going to let him get there. He hasn't got a fire dice, but he, unfortunately for him, so he's just there, hunkered down behind this cover. I'm just going to take his peg away, make it look more better. There you go. So he is now aiming at the Milky Bar Kid. And then finally, that is that's Crunchy's card. So I'm just going to take that out. So now once again, the action has now moved. We've come up here. So we've got the Milky Bar Kid still hunkered down. We've only got 3 cards in the game deck now. We've got Killminster is watching him, and we've also got Filthy on his way up to deal him some damage as well. So let's have a look. We've got Ace of Hearts. That is the Milky Bar Kid himself. Can he get out of this? Is discretion the better part of valour, and is it time for him to high-foot it back to the trail? But let's have a look. He's got a 6 and a 2. Right, he's going to use our 6 to take out a shock. The 2, he can change it because he is actually a gunslinger. He does have a Bonanza token as well, so he can interrupt a turn. He can turn that into a, well, it's a spotting dice. So he's going to spot Bomber. So he's actually spotted Bomber. So he's just going to wait and hopefully interrupt Bomber's turn. Let's see whose turn it is next. It is 2 of Hearts. This is Filthy. Is he going to do some damage as well? He's unloaded. Let's just have a look. We've got 2 5s, 2 1s, a 2 and a 3, and then those 2 5s. So that is 2 moves, 1 spot, 1 aim, and 2 5s. He's also got his card as well, but that's only a move card. I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to use these 2 move dice, and I'm going to move him around here. Now, your first move dice will always roll 2d6. Any dice after that will roll 1d6. So basically he's going to move 3d6, and I want to get him up onto the hill up here to look down on the Milky Bar Kid to stop his escape, basically, or at least behind this fence here. So that's 7 inches, and yes, he can do that, just so he can just get in here. So he is now right behind him. So unfortunately for the Milky Bar Kid, he is surrounded on both sides. What other dice we got here? We got 2 a spot. He doesn't need a spot anyway because he's in the open. And we got 2 5s. He's going to reload with those 2 5s. So that's going to put his ammo back up to 2 at least. And that's really it, I think. That's all he can do. The 2 and the 3 are pretty useless on their own. Well, he could have actually, tell you what, he can reload 1 ammunition and then fire with the second one. I'm going to do that instead. So rather than reload 2. So he's going to reload 1 and then fire. And he's going to be hitting on a 5 up. However, he has got a sword off at 4 inches or less. So that gives him a +1. So he's going to be hitting there on a 4 up. 1. No, he's missed anyway. So he's now back again, unloaded, unfortunately for him. So who's next? Okay, that's Bomber Killminster, obviously. So let's just see what happens with him. Let me re-roll that, just slightly cocked that dice there. So he's got 2 3s, which are aim, a 2 which is spot, so he can spot the Milky Bar Kid. I can't remember if he'd spotted him in the past or not, but he can now anyway, so he's using that 2 to do that. The 2 3s are nothing really. Then he's got a fire dice, so he can use that to blast once again. He's fully stocked up at this point, so I'm going to spend that fire dice and firing 3 shots. He's closer than 4 inch, so that's going to give him a +1 on the hits. Then he's got a 6 he can spend as well. We'll see what he does with that. So that has just caused 1 hit. Can our man dodge it? He's dodging on a 4 up. Yes, he's dodged it, so he placed it. So what Bomber is going to do, he's going to use that 6 to then reload 1 ammunition, so he's at least got 1 ammo back in his tub. Right, our next turn up then, so let's see who can get the upper hand here. Milky Bar Kid is still in pretty dire straits, but let's have a look. 2 of spades is Filthy. He's currently unloaded, so he's going to need to get loaded, but he has got 6 dice. Let's see what we got. That one's cocked, so I'll just re-roll that. Oof, that's quite nasty for the poor old Milky Bar Kid. He's got 3 shots, so he's going to load up and then unload into the Milky Bar Kid's back. So that's basically, so that was the 2 loads, and then fire with the extra on the 3s he can't do anything with. So we are going to hit with, well, try to hit with 4s up, 3 dice. That is 2 hits. Can the Milky Bar Kid dodge those? He's in the open, so he needs a 5. 6, yes he does. He actually, I forgot before, he should move when he dodges. And then that's it, so he's actually moved behind that cover there at least. So yes, he's dodged all those shots, unfortunately for them. So that's Filthy. He's unloaded his weapon again. So where are we at? Next one. This is Wurzel now. Sorry, not Wurzel, this is Bomber. So he needs to spot the Milky Bar Kid, who has now moved back behind cover over there, but he just needs a 2. Well, he's got it, so he has spotted, and then he's also got 2 6s as well. 2 6s do nothing, 3 6s will do some end the turn, I think. Is it end the turn? No, it's a random event, and then 4 6s is you end the turn immediately, and you also gain a bonanza token at the end of your turn, which is quite nice. But he spotted him. He's got 2 6s. He's got a half loaded weapon, so he's actually going to load it up fully. Turn 1 those 6s into a 5, and then he's going to fire with the his last one at our man. I think, is he at 4 inch? He's just at 4 inches away, so he's going to get a +1 for his buckshot to hit. So let's have a look. So that is 1 hit on a 6. That's become the 2, 1, and the 3 are nothing. So 6 effect. Can he dodge? He's in 4. He's in cover, so it's a 4 up, and he can dodge. 2, no, he hasn't dodged. So that's a 6 is a wound, lose 1 action dice permanently, and also 1 shock. So he's lost another action dice. He has now got in shock. He has actually got more shock now than action dice, so he is also going to flee the table even before his turn, which was the next one along. So the Milky Bar Kid has run away. He's certainly not strong and tough enough in this particular game. So the situation at the end of the game is the Snaggletooth gang have retained their possession of New Rotherham. They're probably going to move on though, because I'm sure there'll be a posse coming soon enough with the sheriff now that the 2 bounty hunters have fled the scene. So the Milky Bar Kid ran off, as did poor old Crunchy Friday as well, who's here. You can see him there. Both of those have left the field because they have now they've got more dice in the shock pool than their actual action dice, so they've run off. So it's a basic force morale. I probably got a good few things wrong, but it kind of gives you a good idea of how the game plays. As I say, I just wanted to get this video out as well anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. As I say, once I go through the editing, I'm sure I'll fairly sure I'll pick out quite a few things that I know that I've done wrong anyway. But never mind, it's not about that. It's about the journey, not the arrival. As I say, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, this is a great little game. Good fun. You don't really need a great deal. As I say, this was on a 2x2 table and lost plenty of action. Quite normally a smaller than normal game. You probably have about 3 or 4 figures aside in your gang, and also then if this was also a campaign game, there may be some repercussions for what happens through the two guys running away from the table. But great fun, and that's what it's all about. As I say, if you've enjoyed it and you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do hit that like and subscribe button. You'll get frequent updates from all my videos. And if you want to help out the channel, you can do with either being a channel member or my Patreon as well. Check them out. Links are in the description as always, and I will see you partners in the next Storm of Steel video.